Hello, Stewart's 89. Well, I have been in Haddonfield for the last week or more. Um, I normally each year I watch the Halloween films. I start on the 30th around midnight and I do the whole next day, and then it tends to carry on into the 1st of November watching documentaries and special features and things like that. But I never get through everything. And this year I just said, you know what? With all these new movies, I can't do it in one night or one weekend anymore. I'm just going to have to do like a Halloween week once a year, basically. So I end up watching all the films, all the alternative versions, like the TV version of the first movie, the TV version of the second movie, the producer's cut of the sixth movie, and yeah, all the special features, all the documentaries, and a few other fan-made ones like the history of Halloween and the story of Halloween, although they only did episodes 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But yeah, I've basically just been immersing myself in Halloween the last week or so, and I just watched, because I started on, like, it's the 10th today, so it's been 10 days of just watching Halloween. I don't know how, I mean, I did a few other things as well, obviously, but the week has gone really fast, and I just watched Halloween Kills, and it's not as bad as I sort of felt it was. A lot of people are trashing it, and there are definitely some issues, but I sort of was thinking about it, and it really comes down to which side of the Halloween fandom you sort of are on. You're either a fan of Laurie or Michael, and that's sort of how it goes with horror movies, because a lot of people think people who love horror movies, there's something wrong with them, and it really depends on which side you view the films on. If you view them, if you side with the victims, if you're scared of the films, if you are identifying with the victims and scared and enjoying that element of it, that's one way to view horror films. The other way to view them is if you're on the side of the killer, if you actually have those issues. I think you have to have issues to be on that side of, I mean, I'm a fan of Friday the 13th and Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street and all that, but I never really liked the villains. I never sided with the villains. I was always on the side of the victims, and enjoying being scared, and having these legendary characters that were out to get me, not celebrating them like some sort of heroes. There are a lot of really sick people who see Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees as heroes, and you see a lot of these fans celebrating the wrong person, and that's sort of how the Halloween series went. Because when Jamie Lee Curtis first tried to end the series, depending on which version, she came up with H2O, but some people say that the producers that did. She says she did. Maybe they both did at the same time. I mean, the date was coming around for everyone. But she wanted to end it. She was like, I won't do it unless we kill him. And that was what the axe was about, chopping the head off. That's what it was about. It was ending it. She wanted to end it. She didn't want to come back. But what she didn't realise was in the contract, Mustafa actually had a clause that Michael couldn't die. And they put in the contract that she would have to come back. And she agreed to like 30 seconds or something. And they came to a compromise. They said, well, how about if, okay, we don't kill Michael, but the audience thinks he's dead. So you get to kill him and the audience gets to walk away thinking he's dead, but he's actually not dead. So we can bring him back and we can use him again. So that's where they came up with the idea, and they filmed him actually leaving in the paramedic's outfit. So that really did happen. H2O, I mean, I'd like to think H2O is the end sometimes, and she did kill him. I mean, I watched that in the cinema. I saw it on Halloween night, 1998. It was amazing, and I thought he was dead. And I was fine with it because I was always on Laurie's side, and I was happy to see him dead. I mean, I sort of didn't think about, we won't have any more Halloween films. But I realised a lot of the people who are hating the film are hating it because they're Michael fans. They want Michael to live. They were happy when Michael killed Laurie, because when she came back in the next film, he kills her. And I just remember watching that and thinking, how can you kill Laurie Strode? How can you have her survive 7 films and kill her in the first 15 minutes of the 8th film? And then you have Michael go on. He's killed all his family, although they forgot all about her son. But essentially he's killed his family, and now he's just going to go on and just randomly kill people and be celebrated like the guy with the clown mask in the mental institute who, is idolising him. Is that who we're making the films for now? It's kind of fascinating. So I just watched the film again, and I was sort of with it at first, the first time I saw it, but then I started to feel like, oh, Michael's not really here. This is a fantasy. This guy is imagining it. And I sort of thought, I don't know, Copycat can be interesting, but it's not really Michael. And how's he coming back for the end? How's this going to work? And then I realised late in the film, oh, he really was there. He did come back, and now he's here for Laurie. And we got that 25-minute final battle, because he shows up around 1:25. The film's 1:50, so you get about 20 minutes of them fighting the final battle. And you almost could have just tacked that on the end of Halloween Kills. You could have just had, because the extended version, in the original theatrical version, you just see him kill Laurie's daughter, and you see Laurie looking out the window, him looking out the window, them both seeing each other, knowing what's happening without actually knowing, and it ends there. In the extended version, she tries to call her, and Michael picks up, and she says, "I'm coming for you, Michael," and she walks out of the hospital with a knife, and that's the end of that. And I just remember thinking, God, what were they thinking? They promised us this big battle between these two characters, and they set up the first film that way, and then supposedly they were going to film a second film, so they had always planned to have more than one film, but they promoted it as the final battle, and then they came back, but the second chapter sort of worked, but then I'm like, well, how are they going to end it? And then to jump 4 years, to focus on another character, to focus on the evil that is Michael affecting the town, being bigger than Michael, and reducing, in a way, it reduces Michael to just a man in a Halloween mask, as Corey says when he tears the mask off Michael's face after knocking him down, and then leaving with it, and leaving him basically in the sewer with no mask. And they reduce him in that way, but then they also have his sort of power empowering Corey to become this killer, and the rest of the town being affected as well. So they do show him as a force of evil, but they show that evil is something bigger than him, and they like remove him from it and remove him from the picture altogether. And it's interesting. Like I was really happy to see Laurie fight him and kill him, and with the help of her granddaughter, kill him. And then they actually totally destroyed the body and ripped it apart in a mechanical shredder. And the whole town was there to watch it. The sheriff came out and said, we are doing this. We're putting on this procession, and basically everyone calling everyone and coming and watching it happen. The only thing I don't understand is, why was Lindsay not there? Like, did Kyle have to go back to Real Housewives or something? Why was she not there? Because everyone else was there watching. But yeah, I like the ending. I'm happy with the ending. I'm happy with the final battle. I'm happy with how it ended. I'm glad that Laurie is finally having some peace. She's written her book. She's had her say. She's finished her chapter, and now she's going to go see cherry blossoms with the cop. And I'm glad she had that happy ending. I wanted her to have that happy ending, because I didn't like the way how Resurrection ended. I used to sort of just watch the films up to H2O, and I wouldn't always watch Resurrection. Sometimes I would, sometimes I wouldn't. But even though I like the film on its own, because I like the way the internet is used, and how the voyeurs sort of become involved, and they're sort of watching, and then they're trying to help, and then there's that element of the film I think worked on its own. But they could have done all that without having Laurie in it at all, and just having Michael just killing or whatever. So I don't know. I'm glad that they ended it like this. I'm glad that they did the other film, but the whole sidetrack with Corey is strange because it was unnecessary. It does a few things that are interesting, but no one really asked for the romance. And it's weird that the importance that they put on the radio station, which they made sure to put in the second film. They actually spent money on special effects to put the tower in the background in some shots and that, because they knew it was going to be a part of the third film. So they did seem to have an overall plan. But this plan for a trilogy, I mean, it's the old bait and switch and mispromotion, saying that it's a trilogy that's about Laurie and Michael, when they never saw it as about Laurie and Michael's final battle. So it's really strange. But it's better than I remember. It makes more sense when you watch it the second time, when you know that Michael really is back and he's live, because I thought he was, then I thought he wasn't, then I wasn't sure, and I was disappointed by the idea of a copycat. But then it sort of went backwards and forwards, and now he's there the whole time. It doesn't make a lot of sense that he sort of works with Corey, but you get that he's weak. But then why is he weak? He was so strong at the end of the film when he was almost defeated, then he rises up and kills everyone, and he comes back and kills Allison, and then he just disappears for 4 years and hides. There are things that don't make sense in the film, but I'm not sure what else could they have done. Just had Michael hide and get strong for a year and then come back for Laurie. How do you fill the rest of the film? That's half an hour maybe. So it's weird. It's like, instead of just ending at the other film, they made a whole other film, but they didn't have enough of this story to make another film, so they just inserted this other little story, which sort of affected and relates to the other story. But yeah, it's kind of weird. But ultimately I'm happy with how it ended, and I'm really more appreciative of it than I thought I would be after watching it a second time. And I never do that. I never watch the Halloween films twice. I mean, normally I would try and stretch it out, and I'd watch it the second time the next year, so I'd get another year out of the film before it sort of starts to get familiar. But I just really needed to see it again and work out exactly what was happening and view it knowing how it was going to end. Like the scenes early on with Sheriff Brackett and that, not Brackett, I've forgotten his name, when he's chatting her up in the shopping plaza or whatever, and they're buying groceries and that, knowing that they're going to get together, it's much sweeter when you're not sure, when you think he's probably going to die or she's going to die. It's just different when you know what's going to happen. So, yeah, I just wanted to reflect on my week in Haddonfield. It's interesting, the history, hearing about the behind the scenes and that, how much of a family sort of environment that the Accards created, and how the Halloween films were created in that is all very interesting. I'd like to do a proper documentary about the whole thing one day, because it's all very interesting. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Sorry about my voice. I didn't even know it was like this until I started talking. I'm going to go work out what I'm going to do next, because I'm out of Halloweens. Unless I start go watching random documentaries, I'm going to have nothing left to watch. I was going to do some of the fan films. I watched one, it was awful. I watched another one, it was okay-ish, but I'm finding them not as interesting as the Friday the 13th ones, and I might just save them for next year. And that'll, I guess, be my new thing each year. We'll be checking out the fan films, because there won't be any more Halloween films for a while. I mean, they can always reboot Halloween and bring Michael Myers back in some version. They seem to have released the evil, so he could come back in another form. There's different ways they could continue on with the series. They may just reboot it and do a straight reboot and have Michael Myers literally come back. But who knows? I'm going to go. Bye. Something else I discovered when I was watching the commentaries. I watched the commentaries for all the films. There's 2 commentaries for the original film, 2 commentaries for the second film, 2 commentaries for the third film, 2 commentaries for the fourth film, 2 commentaries for the fifth film, no commentaries for the sixth film. No, there's no commentary for the sixth film. There's no commentary for H2O, and then there's one last commentary for for Resurrection, but there's one commentary for Kills, but there's no commentary for the 2018 version. But one thing I did find out through all those was that there was actually a TV version of H2O, because there was the TV version of the original film where they filmed 12 minutes of extra footage, and there was a TV version with alternative scenes from a different version because they'd done some reshoots for the second film. And then when they did H2O, they did a few extended and I think a couple of slightly alternate scenes, because there was a lot of drama involved in Halloween 6, H2O, and 8, because they were studio pictures. The first films were independent, the later ones were studio, and there was a lot of drama. And it was interesting to find the deleted scenes, about 7 or 8 minutes of those, which I only just became aware of. So I just wanted to mention those. In case you haven't found them yet, go find them. I'm going to go.